And we're going to start our trip with the Los Angeles Lakers. Why not? We're here in LA. Let's do it, all right? The centerpiece is, of course, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, fresh off that Euro run, and Austin Reeves here. Now, defensively, Kevin Felton thinks the perimeter could be a problem. So, Brian Windhorst, is Luka going to solve some of those issues? What do they need to do here?
Yeah, I wouldn't count on Luka for it night in and night out. You know, they also lost Dorian Finney-Smith. So they tried to address this by going out and signing Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart. Now, I know Marcus Smart's going to be the headliner there because he's a former Defensive Player of the Year. But I think the Lakers feel like Jake LaRavia is an underrated defensive player. He can guard point guards all the way down to even some power forwards.
Los Angeles Lakers 2024-25 player breakdown. Luka Doncic. It's not every day an NBA franchise lands a top 5 player in his prime. But on February 2, 2025, the Los Angeles Lakers did exactly that, pulling off what might go down as one of the most stunning trades in modern sports history. The Lakers acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks, sending Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a future first-round pick the other way. It was a seismic shift, both for the league and for the trajectory of the Lakers franchise. At the time of the trade, Doncic was having another stellar year in Dallas, averaging 28.1 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game. A mild calf strain suffered on Christmas Day sidelined him for about 6 weeks, delaying his Lakers debut and temporarily cooling the buzz around the blockbuster deal. But once he hit the floor in purple and gold, it didn't take long for the league to be reminded who Luka Doncic really is. A slow start, then pure brilliance. Doncic needed a few games to find his rhythm, adjust to a new system, and build chemistry, particularly with LeBron James and Austin Reeves. But once that connection clicked, everything changed. Luka quickly became the engine of the Lakers' offense, shifting LeBron into more of an off-ball role and shouldering the bulk of the playmaking duties. His combination of size, vision, and craft gave Los Angeles a new identity, one built around spacing, ball movement, and Luka's unrelenting ability to break down defenses. Together, Doncic and James led the Lakers to the No. 3 seed in a stacked Western Conference. Along the way, they notched statement wins over top contenders, including the eventual champion Oklahoma City Thunder and longtime rival Denver Nuggets, a team that had owned the Lakers in recent seasons. Doncic appeared in 28 regular season games for Los Angeles, averaging 28.2 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 7.5 assists, while shooting an impressive 37.9% from 3. Standout moment, the return to Dallas. Though Luka had several standout performances in a short span, including a 32-point, 10-rebound, 7-assist, for Steel Night in Denver, one night clearly stood above the rest. April 9, 2025, Luka Doncic returned to Dallas. It was emotional from the start, with the Mavericks honoring their former star with a heartfelt tribute video. But once the ball was tipped, sentiment gave way to domination. Doncic torched his former team with 45 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals, going 7-for-10 from deep. It was vintage Luka, controlled, electric, and absolutely unguardable. Looking ahead, the new face of the Lakers. This summer, Doncic made it official. He signed a 3-year, $165 million extension, committing to the Lakers through 2028. The message from the front office was clear: Luka is the future, the face of the franchise in the post-LeBron era, and the cornerstone around whom everything else will be built. He's responded with total buy-in. Luka spent the offseason getting into the best shape of his career and has been putting on a show leading Slovenia in the 2025 FIBA Eurobasket tournament. More agile, more vocal, and more locked in than ever, he's arriving to training camp not just as a superstar, but as a leader. Heading into his first full season with the Lakers, Doncic is expected to take full command of the team. With LeBron still elite in moments and a deeper supporting cast on the way, the expectations are simple: championship or bust. And for the first time in years, it feels like the Lakers might just have the superstar and the structure to back that up. A cultural shift in Los Angeles. Luka Doncic's arrival didn't just change the X's and O's for the Lakers, it shifted the entire culture. Internally, the franchise had been preparing for the eventual transition away from the LeBron James, Anthony Davis era. While Davis was still an elite two-way presence, injuries and inconsistency had cast doubt on his ability to be a long-term cornerstone. Trading him for Doncic, a younger, more durable, and offensively generational player, marked a decisive pivot. With LeBron now entering his 22nd season, the leadership dynamic within the locker room has evolved. Where LeBron once carried every burden, on the floor and in the media, Doncic has stepped into that spotlight with ease. His calm demeanor, competitive fire, and vocal presence have begun to reshape the tone of the team. Multiple sources inside the organization have commented on how refreshingly natural the transition has been. And the results on the court have only reinforced that shift. The offense now runs through Doncic by design. LeBron, freed from constant initiation duties, has extended his effectiveness by playing off the ball, cutting, spacing, and picking his moments. Austin Reaves, too, has thrived playing alongside a primary ball handler who draws so much defensive attention. Front office commitment and tactical adjustments. The Lakers front office, led by GM Rob Pelinka, made a clear statement in building around Doncic. After the trade, the roster construction tilted toward maximizing his strengths, shooting, spacing, and versatility. The team moved away from the traditional two-big setup that had defined the Davis era, opting instead for floor-spreading lineups built around speed, perimeter defense, and high IQ playmakers. It was a calculated risk, but one that paid off. By the end of the regular season, the Lakers ranked top 5 in offensive efficiency during Doncic's minutes on the court. Defensively, the burden was redistributed. While Doncic is not known as a lockdown defender, his size and instincts allow him to be effective within a disciplined scheme. The coaching staff adjusted accordingly, hiding Luka against weaker matchups while leveraging his rebounding and outlet passing to ignite transition play. This shift also allowed supporting players like Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent to embrace more defined, specialized roles, all aimed at complementing Luka's pace and rhythm. League-wide impact and narrative fallout. The ripple effects of the Doncic trade extended far beyond Los Angeles. For Dallas, it marked the end of an era. Luka had been the face of the Mavericks since Dirk Nowitzki's retirement, and his departure left a vacuum, both competitively and emotionally. Despite acquiring Anthony Davis, the Mavericks entered a rebuild-adjacent phase, attempting to retool on the fly but with far less certainty than they had with Doncic as their centerpiece. Around the league, front offices took note. The Lakers had managed to pull off another superstar acquisition without completely gutting their roster. It reignited debate about player empowerment, loyalty, and the shifting balance of power in the Western Conference. Media discourse also intensified. Some questioned whether Doncic could coexist long-term with an aging LeBron. Others wondered if his heliocentric style could truly lead a team to a title. But after nearly 2 months of game tape, it was clear, Luka wasn't just adapting to the Lakers. He was elevating them. Expectations for 2025-26, a new standard. Now, heading into the 2025-26 season, the expectations are no longer theoretical. This is Doncic's team. With a full offseason to build chemistry, a restructured roster, and a fresh system molded around his strengths, the Lakers are poised to be one of the league's most dangerous contenders. Anything less than a deep playoff run will be seen as a disappointment. But for the first time in years, the Lakers' future doesn't hinge on preserving a closing championship window. It hinges on building around one of the most gifted offensive players of this generation, and trusting that his brilliance, now combined with the weight of a historic franchise, can deliver something even bigger. Not just wins. Not just playoff moments. Legacy. LeBron James isn't slowing down. Age is just a number. At this point, LeBron James isn't just playing against defenders. He's playing against time. And winning. The Los Angeles Lakers superstar has redefined what longevity looks like in the NBA, extending the peak of a basketball career in a way no one has ever done before. As he prepares for a record-breaking 23rd NBA season in 2025-26, LeBron remains not only relevant but remarkably dominant, a testament to his unparalleled discipline, preparation, and mental drive. Even as the oldest active player in the league, LeBron still commands the respect of teammates, opponents, and fans alike. He's not simply hanging on, he's still moving the needle. But while his on-court brilliance continues to impress, it's what he does behind the scenes that might be even more extraordinary. Still hungry, still moving. After battling through a knee injury suffered during the 2025 playoffs, LeBron has spent the offseason focusing on recovery and conditioning, something that's become second nature for him over 2 decades of elite performance. And yet, even while rehabbing, he hasn't slowed down. He's been seen traveling internationally, making stops in China as part of his long-standing partnership with Nike and promoting the upcoming release of his next signature shoe. At 40 years old, LeBron could be easing into retirement. Instead, he's doubling down, sharpening his body, preparing his mind, and reminding the world that he's not done yet. Age doesn't matter. Age is just a number, LeBron told CGTN Sports Scene during a recent appearance. I still feel energized every time I step on the court. I'm just trying to give everything I've got to my teammates, to step out there and win. It's not just a soundbite. Anyone who watches LeBron play can still see flashes of the explosiveness, intelligence, and physicality that made him a once-in-a-generation talent. While his vertical leap may have dipped and his first step might not be quite what it once was, the timing, the awareness, and the leadership, as sharp as ever. A living blueprint for the next generation. LeBron's influence on today's NBA goes far beyond the box score. He's not just a legend, he's a living role model, someone young players across the league grew up idolizing. Houston Rockets forward Amen Thompson recently admitted he used to root against the Golden State Warriors, simply because of how much he loved watching LeBron. That's the kind of legacy you can't quantify. And that's part of what makes this final stretch of LeBron's career so compelling. He's still capable of changing a game, lifting a team, or defining a moment. If the Lakers can stay healthy and find rhythm, a locked-in LeBron could close the gap between Los Angeles and the league's top contenders, even if Vegas odds say otherwise. No coaching in the cards, just greatness. While many assume LeBron's basketball IQ would make him a natural fit for coaching after retirement, the man himself has other ideas. He's acknowledged the mental toll of an 82-game season and the playoffs. The preparation, the film study, the travel, it takes everything. For now, he's committed to playing at the highest level, and when he finally does step away from the game, coaching won't be part of the plan. Still, his presence will be felt long after he leaves the court, not just in the records he'll leave behind, but in the players he inspired, the standard he raised, and the way he proved that greatness has no expiration date. Balancing legacy and reality. LeBron James' presence on the Lakers roster heading into 2025-26 is both a competitive advantage and a symbolic weight. He's more than a player at this point, he's an institution. But as much as his legacy casts a long shadow, it also creates a delicate balancing act for the Lakers coaching staff and front office. With Luka Doncic now officially the focal point of the franchise, there's a quiet shift taking place. The offense is evolving. Roles are being adjusted. And for perhaps the first time in 2 decades, LeBron is no longer expected to carry a team every night, but rather to complement, elevate, and advise. It's a transition that not all legends have embraced gracefully. But LeBron? He seems to welcome it. Sources within the team describe LeBron's approach this offseason as strategic and self-aware. He knows exactly where his game is most effective, and he's working with head coach Darvin Ham and the training staff to monitor his minutes, manage his load, and maximize his impact in the moments that matter. It's about pacing, one assistant coach said privately. He doesn't need to prove anything anymore, but that doesn't mean he's coasting. He's just choosing his spots, thinking 5 steps ahead. Chasing greatness, not just stats. What's driving LeBron at this stage of his career isn't individual accolades. He's already the NBA's all-time leading scorer. He's a 4-time champion, a 20-time All-Star. Every stat, every milestone, every record is already etched in history. But what still drives him, and what his teammates continue to feel, is his obsession with competing at the highest level. That drive sets a tone, especially for younger players like Austin Reeves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and even recent additions like DeAnthony Melton. In practices, LeBron's voice is still the loudest. In film sessions, he's still the most inquisitive. In high-pressure moments, the team still looks his way, not just because of what he can do physically, but because of how he thinks. And while he's made it clear that coaching won't be in his future, his mentorship is already influencing the final chapters, written on his terms. As the 2025-26 season approaches, one question hangs over the Lakers and the league. How many more years does LeBron James have left? He hasn't given a clear answer. He rarely does. But what is clear is this: he's not rushing the end. Every season he returns, it becomes more evident that LeBron is writing his own story, page by page. And he's doing it in a way few athletes in history have managed. Still productive, still passionate, and still playing meaningful basketball. This may not be the LeBron who scored 50 on a whim or chased down blocks in Game 7s. But it's a version that's just as rare, a legend aging with grace, recalibrating his game in real time, and finding new ways to lead without dominating the spotlight. And in a locker room that now belongs to Luka Doncic, that kind of humility is just as valuable as any stat line. Kobe Bryant's legacy continues to inspire, on and off the court. Kobe Bryant was more than a basketball icon. He was a force of nature. On the court, his 5 NBA championships, relentless drive, and unmatched work ethic earned him a place among the greatest to ever play the game. But what many didn't expect was how seamlessly he would transition that same intensity and passion into the next chapter of his life. When Kobe walked away from basketball in 2016, after 20 unforgettable seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers, it didn't take long for him to redefine what success after sports could look like. The Mamba mentality wasn't left behind in the locker room. It followed him into storytelling, film, and literature. From winning an Academy Award for his animated short Dear Basketball to authoring best-selling books aimed at inspiring young athletes, Kobe's post-NBA journey was just beginning. He wasn't just trying to stay busy. He was building something, a legacy off the court that could stand shoulder to shoulder with everything he had done on it. Jaylen Brown and the power of influence. Among the many athletes touched by Kobe's legacy is Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown. Although their paths never crossed in person, Brown entered the league just as Kobe retired. The influence was deeply felt. Brown recently launched his own performance shoe brand, 741 Performance, with a bold mission: to give athletes more agency over their branding, equity, and earnings. Inspired by Kobe's mindset and commitment to excellence, Brown decided to take a different route, one not defined by legacy companies, but by athlete-first principles. Kobe taught us to build, not just follow. Brown has implied through actions more than words. To lead with vision, not just play the game. While most stars lean on massive corporate sponsors like Nike, Adidas, or Jordan Brand to expand their platform, Brown is betting on a different model, one that prioritizes values, equity, and innovation over mass appeal. Yes, it's risky. But it's also undeniably Kobe-esque. Brown wore his 741 sneakers throughout the Celtics championship campaign last season, giving the brand exposure on the biggest stage. And while 741 Performance may not have the global recognition, yet, of more established companies, its mission, and the mentality behind it, is what sets it apart. A legacy that lives through others. It's been 5 years since the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant, but his presence remains everywhere, in the game, in the culture, and in the players who grew up watching him redefine greatness. Outside the Crypto.com arena, Kobe is now immortalized with a statue, and more are expected in the coming years. The Lakers retired both of his jersey numbers, 8 and 24, a rare and fitting honor for a player whose career was truly split into 2 equally iconic eras. And yet, for players like Jaylen Brown, Kobe's impact goes far beyond numbers or monuments. It's personal. Brown, now an NBA Finals MVP, reflects with some regret on never having had the chance to meet Kobe face-to-face. Their timelines never quite aligned. Kobe retired just before Brown entered the league as a rookie in 2016. "It's one of my biggest what-ifs," Brown has said. To learn from him directly, that would have meant everything. Still, the influence is undeniable. Brown has become the kind of player and person Kobe would have respected: intelligent, competitive, visionary. And through actions like founding 741 Performance, he's keeping the Mamba spirit alive, not by imitating Kobe, but by honoring him through bold, original steps of his own. The ripple effect: Kobe's mentality in today's NBA. Jaylen Brown is far from the only player shaped by Kobe Bryant's influence. He's part of a generation molded by a man who saw basketball as more than a game. Across the NBA, stars have openly credited Bryant not just for inspiring their competitive edge, but for helping them craft mental frameworks for life. Devin Booker, who once trained with Kobe and now proudly wears the number 8 tattooed on his arm, often speaks of their one-on-one conversations as formative. Jason Tatum, another rising face of the league, wears a purple armband in Bryant's honor and has rewatched film of Kobe's games more times than he can count. Even international players like Giannis Antetokounmpo have cited Kobe's mentorship as a turning point in their careers, moments that reshaped their preparation, ambition, and belief in what's possible. What binds them all is a shared reverence, not just for Kobe's highlights, but for the work behind them. For the obsession with detail, the preparation in silence, and the refusal to compromise, no matter the stakes. Beyond basketball, redefining athlete identity. One of the most profound aspects of Kobe Bryant's post-retirement legacy is how he challenged the idea that an athlete's value ends when their playing career does. His success in media, publishing, and business created a blueprint, not of celebrity, but of authorship. He didn't just endorse brands, he built stories. He didn't just retire, he reinvented. That's exactly the kind of mindset that's beginning to shape a new generation of players, particularly those like Jaylen Brown who are stepping into roles of leadership far beyond their stat lines. Brown, who has also been deeply involved in social justice initiatives and education advocacy, is emblematic of a broader shift: athletes who want to own their narrative in every space they step into, not just on game night. Kobe showed them it was possible. Honoring the Mamba, a legacy still in motion. In many ways, the full weight of Kobe Bryant's legacy is only beginning to be understood. His impact was not confined to highlight reels or buzzer beaters, but woven into the identity of the modern athlete, in how they think, how they prepare, and how they build. The Lakers' continued efforts to honor him, through statues, jersey retirements, and cultural tributes, are important, but the most lasting tribute will be how his mentality lives on in the players he influenced. For Jaylen Brown, wearing a Finals MVP crown, launching a socially driven shoe brand, and stepping into a new chapter of his own career, the connection to Kobe is personal, even if they never met. And in that, Bryant's vision of legacy, one that stretches far beyond basketball, remains alive, relevant, and evolving. Because true legacy doesn't fade when the spotlight dims. It echoes through those bold enough to carry it forward. Tracy McGrady makes bold claim about LeBron James' GOAT status. NBA Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady recently shared a compelling take on LeBron James' place in the conversation for greatest player of all time, and offered a surprising what if that could have sealed LeBron's claim as the undisputed GOAT. At 40 years old, LeBron remains not just active, but elite, the longest tenured and oldest player currently in the NBA. A 21-time All-NBA selection and 4-time league MVP, he's already solidified his legacy as one of the greatest to ever step on a basketball court. But in a league shaped by legends like Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, and Bill Russell, the debate around who truly deserves the title of greatest of all time continues. On a recent episode of Gilbert Arenas' podcast Gil's Arena, McGrady introduced a fascinating angle to the conversation: the triangle offense. The system, designed by Tex Winter and implemented to perfection by Phil Jackson with both the Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Lakers, produced 11 championships between 1991 and 2010. McGrady suggested that if LeBron had been exposed to the triangle offense early in his career, we might not even be having a GOAT debate. If Bron had learned the triangle when he was young, it would have taken his game to a whole other level, McGrady said. He's not the same athlete he was before, but if you take LeBron in his prime, with that speed, agility, and explosiveness, and put him in the triangle system, there'd be no question who the greatest of all time is. Would LeBron have thrived in the triangle? The triangle offense emphasized team-oriented movement, spacing, and reactive decision-making, a system that worked brilliantly for scoring guards like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But it wasn't a universal fit. In fact, Phil Jackson's attempt to resurrect the system with the New York Knicks, led by Carmelo Anthony, was a notorious failure. LeBron, however, isn't just any star. He's a generational passer, a player whose basketball IQ is arguably unmatched in league history. While it's true he never needed the triangle to dominate, McGrady's point is hard to ignore. The structure and rhythm of that system could have elevated LeBron's all-around impact even further, turning greatness into something transcendent. The case for LeBron, with or without the triangle. Even without the triangle offense, LeBron James has built one of the most complete resumes in NBA history. He's the only player to lead 3 different franchises to NBA championships, winning 4 titles and claiming Finals MVP each time. He's been to the NBA Finals 10 times, including an unprecedented 8 consecutive appearances from 2011 to 2018. He's done all of this while sharing the floor with other future Hall of Famers like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and Anthony Davis, often outshining them when it mattered most. Beyond the accolades, the numbers are staggering. All-time leading scorer in NBA history. 21 All-NBA selections, a record. 21 All-Star appearances, also a record. 4 MVP awards, tied with Wilt Chamberlain. 6 All-Defensive Team honors. Only Kareem 6, Jordan 5, and Russell 5 have more MVP trophies. Yet none have matched LeBron's longevity or sustained excellence at such a high level. Still great at 40, and still evolving. What makes LeBron's case even more remarkable is the fact that, at age 40, he's still one of the top players in the league. In his 22nd NBA season, a feat no other superstar has accomplished at this level. He remained the Lakers' second-best player, helping lead them to a 50-32 record. In 70 regular season games last season, he averaged 24.4 points per game, 8.2 assists, 7.8 rebounds, while shooting 51.3% from the field, 37.6% from three, and 78.2% from the line. Those are not the numbers of a player in decline, they're the numbers of a player still dominating. And next season, LeBron is set to break yet another record as he begins his 23rd NBA campaign, extending his legacy even further. Whether or not he ever played in the triangle offense, LeBron James has already built a legacy that will be talked about for generations. But as Tracy McGrady pointed out, it's fascinating to imagine what could have been, and even more thrilling to watch what LeBron still is. The GOAT debate might never end, but if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's this: LeBron James isn't done making his case. Tracy McGrady makes bold statement on LeBron James' GOAT status. Former NBA All-Star Tracy McGrady recently shared a thought-provoking take on LeBron James' legacy. While there's no question that LeBron is one of the greatest to ever play the game, McGrady suggested that under different circumstances, LeBron's claim to the title of greatest of all time might be even more secure. Speaking on Gilbert Arenas' podcast Gil's Arena, McGrady pointed to the legendary triangle offense, used by Phil Jackson and Tex Winter to win 11 NBA championships, as a system that could have elevated LeBron's game even further if he had been exposed to it early in his career. If Bron had learned the triangle when he was younger, it would have expanded his game tremendously, McGrady said. He's not as explosive or fast as he once was, but if you take the young Bron, with that athleticism and IQ, and put him in that system, I don't think there would be any debate about who the greatest player is. The triangle offense, known for its structure and emphasis on spacing and team movement, helped define the careers of players like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. While the system was less effective in the modern era, especially during a failed attempt with the New York Knicks, the idea of blending it with LeBron's skill set raises an interesting question. Would it have filled in the few gaps that critics still point to in his career? LeBron's legacy already speaks volumes. He's led 10 teams to the NBA Finals, winning 4 titles and earning Finals MVP each time. His career includes 21 All-NBA selections, 21 All-Star appearances, 4 League MVP awards, and the all-time scoring record. At 40 years old, he's still performing at an elite level and shows no signs of slowing down. But McGrady's take opens up a broader conversation. Could system fit and early development paths have made an already all-time great into an even more untouchable figure in basketball history? This idea also touches on the deeper debate that has defined basketball discourse for decades. What truly makes a player the greatest? Is it raw talent, championships, influence, longevity, or the way a player adapts to systems and styles across eras? LeBron's name is often mentioned alongside legends like Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and Magic Johnson. What sets him apart in many ways is the sheer versatility of his game, a combination of power, intelligence, and consistency that few have matched across so many seasons. McGrady's comment may not settle the debate, but it adds a new lens through which to view LeBron's career, one that blends imagination with historical insight. And while no system defines a player, imagining how LeBron might have thrived in the triangle is a reminder of just how much room there still is to appreciate the many dimensions of his greatness.